let's hear about a couple of other options that operators have now in front of them when they're entering a market where, again, you're being challenged with respect to holding or even, raising rents if you can. And you've got a particular point of view of how to go down one road in particular that might not seem easy to some, but has a much better result. And if you're just joining us, we have Apartment Academy professor Toni Blake on with us today, talking about defending your NOI in today's market.
So now we're going to kind of really drill into it. If you missed episode 1, make sure you go back and watch it, because you're going to want those data sources, the resources, and we looked into our crystal ball and we shared a bunch of great information. So I love the quote from Robert Frost where he says, 2 roads diverge in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference to me. I think it's really important. We talked in the first one about what your perspective is and where are you getting that perspective of the economics and how things are going right now, and what is causing you to make decisions. And I just feel like we need to be paying attention to our NOI. Hello. And so I wanted you to look at these 2 roads. Okay, here's 2 different strategies. 2 roads diverged in the market. One of them matched incentives, sold the apartments, and they let the market lead them. And the other one value added in their marketing, upsold their apartments, and they led the market. And I want to recommend that you do not which one do I go? I took the one with more NOI, baby. And I think it's very important to understand who's influencing you. What is influencing these choices right now, okay? So Jennifer Nevitt, did you ever meet Jen Nevitt? She has a new management company. I think it's called 40. Anyway, yes. She taught me this word years ago, fiduciary. But I followed the Edelman Trust Barometer. I thought it was fascinating when I found this definition of a fiduciary, and it comes from the Latin word fiducia, which means trust. When a property gives you the opportunity to lease that property, you are trusted with the income that is going to come into that property. And I think it's so important they realize that a fiduciary is a person who is responsible for the value of a real estate asset. And that 100 comes from the leasing position. 92% decisions in leasing are influenced by the leasing consultant. And if they're leasing people, if your leasing people are not watching, I want you to go get them and let me have them right here on this program, because I want you to know it's all you. It's 92% of the time you influence that decision. This is personal. Have you ever rented to somebody and then they moved in and then they had a service need? Who'd they ask for if you didn't answer the phone? They asked for you. This is about relationship. And also it's about you attracting your tribe, having a great vibe, having great character to attract great people. I think this is the time for great human beings to shine. However, right now, our frontline team is defending the NOI. And I built that graphic, Daniel, because I love seeing real humans, hands on that, lifting that data up, because social bias right now is ridiculous. You've got this whole thing about evictions where all of a sudden people thought conventional should be affordable housing. No, that's not the way it operates. There's pushback on rents. There's tons of conversation out there about that. There's resident objections to the rents. There's future resident objections to the rent. And there's your frontline team. And my question to you is, what are you giving them to defend the NOI in this market when there's pushback? Well, it's getting nasty, and there's vilification, right, Toni? And the folks in the field, like, they're the ones that take the brunt of it sometimes. And unfortunately, sometimes they will be swayed, and they will think the rents are too high. No, don't tell me it's so. Okay, here we go. So here's a couple of things for you to think about. Choose your next apartment home because of what you get, not what you get free. Let me just give you some truth. When people choose an apartment because of a deal, there is no loyalty. And they will move and skip, probably cause damage, and they will go to the next special. If your whole online and when you're on the phone or what you're talking about is you're dangling some carrot, the traffic you're attracting is not traffic that will love your apartment. It is traffic that is looking for a deal. And we need to be very clear on that. I believe that people should choose your apartment because they love it. Don't make me sing Tina Turner. What's love got to do with it? It's got everything to do with it. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. And value in housing is not measured by what you pay. It's measured by what you get, caring professional people and a quality of life. This is your home. This is not some place where you do a coupon. Free rent has consequences beyond revenue also. I had a property, and I won't say the city, but they were doing 4 months free rent. 4 months free rent. And the residents were so rude. They had a leasing consultant that was so precious, and somebody just got her riled up, and she wound up getting angry and saying the wrong thing and fired. And it's because of the disrespect. When you lower your rents, you lower the perceived value that people have of your building, and that hurts you way, way, way beyond your budget. So one of the things we've been having a lot of fun with is the idea of helping our residents to save money, just not on their rent. I like to say that and just let it sit there for a minute. I would like to save you money, just not on your rent. Like, say that out loud. I'm going to save you money, just not on your rent. I'm not here to save you money on your rent. But
you have to say it in a Southern accent, Toni? I noticed that
yes,
you did that for emphasis. Okay. All right.
I always talk Southern when I think I'm trying to be funny. I noticed that the other day when I listened to a recording. You can save them money on gas through Gas Buddy. You can save them money on shopping through Retail Me Not. You can save them money all over the place. So what we've been doing is we've been creating a campaign. My Kindness QR is actually just about to be launched again. And it's a QR that's dynamic. And every day I change it to a different message of kindness. And it activates on my birthday on November 12th. But you could have a dynamic QR that you print and publish this stuff and you put on your property, and every week or every 2 weeks, you change the coupon that it goes to, you change the place that it goes to, and you constantly give your residents a way to save money, just not on their rent. So here's a really cool yard sign we did with Arbor Properties that was fun things to do with the fun QR. And then we did free things to do with the free QR. And we have these cute dynamic signs that we put all over the property. So while we're touring, we said to people, we love to save you money, just not on your rent. And so just scan that. And then there's free places to go. And the stuff is so easy to find. I mean, like, if you can't find it, you need to talk to somebody because it's so easy to find. So another way to defend it is to realize that the word concession comes from the word concede. And I love words and I love to define them. And it means to concede, to acknowledge as true or just or proper, to admit that you're not worth it. Oh, no, don't say it so. To acknowledge an opponent's victory before it's officially established. That's a kicker. And to grant as a right or privilege to yield your rent. That's what happens when you have a concession. You are conceding that you're not as valuable. So I love the picture of that little baby. I think it's so funny. But Daniel, did you know that there are people who suck and don't know it?
I feel like I interact with those folks on a daily basis.
They just don't know. They do stuff. And I saw somebody on the way here, they had their signs backwards. It's like, okay, so let me just try and read that backwards. But it's like, when it comes to doing a concession, not only do I think a concession is wrong, I'd rather go to market rate and have a fair market rate and not mess with anything. You know, I do love the AIM, the cruises, the cruise coupons. Those are really affordable. And you could give somebody a cruise and say you get 361 days of resort living and 4 days on a cruise, right? And so I love that idea. But I definitely do not believe that you should publish your concession. And all the ILSs are out there asking for it. They've got a data field on every one of them that says what's your deal, what's your hot deal, what's your special. Here's what I think you put in there.
Well, this is contrary to sort of what a lot of us have been taught growing up, Tony. Like if your comps are offering concessions,
that's mainstream. We're not on mainstream today. We're defending NOI today. And so, yes, there's a lot of people that publish them. I say no. Does that even sound smart to you? You have a negotiation tactic where you're going to offer them a concession. You're going to do something for them. Don't you do it at the very end, right before they leave? Isn't that the greatest negotiation? The way to use that concession is to say, before you go, we actually are doing a $300 Visa gift card to help with you to redecorate your new home, right? But you don't, and listen, first of all, they publish them. I say you put in every one of those blanks what makes you special. Our team, our culture, our location, list everything that makes you special, but not a concession. And then if they have a concession, they tell them over the phone. If they don't publish it and they have one, the leasing agent will tell them over the phone. They'll say, what's your special? And they will tell them over the phone. No. That whole idea is the idea that they're going to rent because of that deal. That's right. Attracting the wrong person. They need to rent because they love it, because you bought a property in a great location, and they need to get their eyes off of all this deal making and their eyes on the value of their community and their home and the residents and the location. And also people will increase a concession on a specific floor plan. What's wrong with it? I'm going to tell you a couple of stories here in a minute. And here's probably the worst one, and I can't believe I don't have it down here, is they will mess with the first month's rent. No, never mess with the first month's rent. If that rent is $27.95, they need to pay $27.95. And that first rent, that first time they make that payment, that is them putting their money where their mouth is to say, I'm going to live here and I can afford to live here, okay? If you make it $2,400 the first time they move in, every time they pay $27.95, they are going to growl internally and they'll never forget making that $2,400. Am I telling the truth here, Daniel?
Yeah, we used to always say, wrestle with, look, you can offer people a concession if you do it off of the monthly rent. They will forget they had a concession when renewal time comes, and it will feel like a big increase to them. And so handling it in a different way is brilliant.
Yeah, I even saw a whole blog on how people are getting these 3 and 4 months off, and then they really can't afford to live there. Yeah. And so they get the special. You gave a person 4 months free in your building, and the minute their lease is up, they're gone. And so this whole idea of who are you attracting? Are you attracting people that love it, that want to live there? And is that the leasing strategy you're using? Or are you dangling some concession? I say never concede. If you think like an owner, you know gross potential rent. And you know that we set our budgets, which so many people are back in rooms right now setting budgets, but it's rent potential. Potentially we'd like it. But if you back away from that potential and you set your budget on it, you're in trouble. You can't do that. And I always say, it's not in the budget because you didn't bank it, baby. You got to get it in the bank. Just because others are not prepared to show value does not and should not concern you. It is their thing. And that new lease up, they're going to fill up. They will fill up, and they have that money in their budget. They have a construction loan, but they're going to get their permanent financing, and then they're going to be just like everybody else, okay? And so you just got to survive. I want to talk a little bit about true data and research that's been done by MIT, by other institutions, where people actually chose the item that was more expensive. Like, it was the more popular choice. There's this sense that if I lower my rent or I add this concession, I become the better choice. No, it speaks completely in the opposite direction than that. And
the Tiffany box of multifamily.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I want to talk about the ice cream emoji. Where's my ice cream emoji? So let's talk about this guy. This is ice cream.
Are you
It
sure?
started out as ice cream. It was created from a Frosty, and people turned it to poop, Daniel. It's ice cream. When all the emojis came out, I was like, oh my God, they have an ice cream one. I sent it to all my friends. Have a nice day. Ice cream emoji. And they're like, why'd you send me poop? I said, it's not poop. It's ice cream. My poop doesn't look like that, and it doesn't smile. You know what I'm saying? Now, I might be happy when I'm done, but here's the deal. Like, this is ice cream. So now let me ask you a question, Daniel. If you got one of these ice cream emojis, just went and got one somewhere, and you put it in your office, and every day you said that's ice cream, would you be able to turn this into ice cream in your mind?
It would be hard.
Okay, it would be hard, but here's the deal. I want you to realize this. Somebody turned ice cream to poop.
Permanently.
You can't change it. That ain't good. We are being influenced by others, and this is ice cream. And there's all these poop stories out there, and people letting poop stories happen. So, what's your perspective on the world right now? Well, it depends on who you listen to. And so I will confess I'm a delusional optimist. And so this is ice cream. And I am looking to bring positive messages and positive. Listen, every single day on this earth, there are people planning destruction, even death. Some guy gets let in a cockpit and he's going to turn the engines off because he's lost it. Oh my gosh. Like, his life is over, changed forever. You guys, listen, we need people dedicated to the positive message. We need people out there promoting what is good in this world, what is kind in this world, what is something that we want to look at. So I met this girl on the way here. I had to stop and get a cable, which I actually didn't need because my friends here at Bird and Carol took care of everything, including a delicious salmon lunch. But I thought I needed it. I wanted to be sure, right? So I go into Best Buy and I meet this girl, and I don't know if you can see her name tag good, but part of it was written in, and it says Yanni. And I said to her, what's your name? Because whenever I deal with people, I always use their name. I think it's respectful. And she said, my name is Yanni. And I looked at the name tag and I looked at her. I said, no, it's not. What is your name? She said, it's Ione. I said, that's beautiful. And she told me how she got her name. And I was like, why would you become Yanni when you're Ione? And she said, because nobody can pronounce it. I said, that's not true. When you had your name correctly spelled, did some people respect your name and say it properly? She said, yes. I said, you let the poop people change your name. Change your name. There's all this negative speak out there, and people are redefining apartments and rent. But I want you to be really, really clear on who this is, okay? This is the cheaper choice resident. And I'm going to tell you, Daniel, I'm just going to go on record right here today at the Apartment Academy in this podcast that there are properties out there that this person is walking in and saying, what's your special? And they're being aggressive towards the leasing consultant, which doesn't know how to answer it. They go to the manager and say, we have to have a special. The manager goes to regional and they start to think about we have to have a special. Well, look where it came from. The poop people, from the disrespectful people that we do not want to attract. So to be real clear, for those of you who've been in property management for a while, let's talk about this person. The cheaper choice resident, if you're offering a special, and you give them a special, they want to know what else you're going to give them. They will haggle over the fees and the move-in costs, and they will say, I got my application for free down the street, and they'll push you about the fees and the costs. They want to pick up their keys about 5 days early because they want to transition into their new apartment, but they don't want to pay prorated rent. Anybody feeling me? You feeling me? You remember these people? They take glass containers to the pool. They disrespect our staff. These are the ones that steal the coffee supplies and put them in their apartment. They complain in social media about everything that's wrong. They're constantly giving pushback on policies. They're never ever going to be happy because they disrespect it because you didn't make them pay for it. The minute there's a better deal down the street, they're going to give you notice and they're going to move. And when they do, say, bye, bye, baby, bye, bye. And then you fill that apartment with someone who loves it. So
now,
when
Toni, Toni, I'm going to interrupt you. I can hear the audience right now saying to themselves, I'm not in a Class A building. I'm in a Class B, B minus, in not a great location. And the people that come through my door, they all need, expect, want a special. That's just my demographic. I can't do this. I can't follow this.
Let me tell you something funny. I'm doing the Greystar Orlando leasing rally. And I say to them, come on, give me some poop. Like, what are people saying about your apartments? And this team rose their hand and they said, we don't have a washer and dryer in our one bedroom. And I was like, beautiful property, but you don't get a washer and dryer and I said, do you have a closed care center? Because you don't call it a laundry room. It's a closed care center. Okay. And I said, do you have a closed care center? She said, yes. And I said to her, look, do you have other people living in these one bedrooms? Yeah. Do they seem pretty happy? Yeah. So they're living without a washer and dryer. I said, it reduces their energy cost. It gives them all the storage. They don't have to cart around big, huge appliances and move appliances. I mean, these people today have Waverly or Wayfair or whatever furniture that they build in IKEA, and it's disposable. They don't want to carry this stuff with them. I spend about 3 minutes talking about the benefits of not having a washer and dryer inside the apartment and being able to go do all your laundry at one time. And the next day they rented 5 apartments. And here's the thing I want you to get. We turn ice cream. See, people are coming in and they're pooping up our story, and people are she changed her name, her given name, you guys. Like, I just gotta say, what the hell? Come on. And so for these people, for the disrespectful people, no. The disrespectful ones are not the boss of you. We need to attract and we need to do everything we can to get people to love our property. So quick story. I get a call from my friend in Houston, and they've got 3rd floor. It's August, so it's super, super hot. Vaulted ceiling, 2-bedroom. And I say month of August, it's hot, right? So here's what the staff are saying. It's hot. It's got high electric bills. You got to move in all the way upstairs, and then you have to walk stairs every day. And this is their poop story. So she says to me, the regional is going to buy a television for all of the 3rd floor 2 bedrooms. And if you will take that apartment, you get a television. I'm sorry that you have to live there, but we'll give you a TV if you will. Like, what in the heck is that value building? When you take a floor plan and you discount it, you might as well just put poop on it. You've said there's something wrong with it. It's a complete opposite mentality to go, no, let's have a brainstorming. Let's go into that apartment. Let's talk about everything that is fabulous about this apartment. Let's build a love story about this apartment. Let's tell the love story and see what happens. So I was looking at the American Heart Association, and the American Heart Association recommends you take the stairs. So if the American Heart Association recommends you take the stairs, then this apartment could be recommended by the American Heart Association. And then when I went on to the American Heart Association website, Daniel, I realized they had a newsletter called Heart Smart Life. And so what I told everybody was that when they get a Heart Smart apartment, that they get the newsletter from the American Heart Association. And you know how they got that? Because when I got their application, I went to the website and put their name in. And they all got that. They can unsubscribe. And I put this whole plan together about people counting their steps. People, like, it's private. I did the same thing I did with the poop store and the washer and dryer. I spent 30 minutes on the phone with the leasing agents. All 5 apartments are rented the next week. It is what we think. That first quote from William Shakespeare in the very first section where I said, it is neither good nor bad. It is thinking that makes it so. Is it ice cream or is it poop? And in your ebook, you're going to get in your ebook, you're going to get a link to my Pinterest page with this whole plan for Heart Smart Apartment Life.
All right, very interesting. So we're holding fast to our rents. We're making sure we're not mentally or economically baking in the perception of what rent should be, or the perception of our own amenities and how we think about community value.